maximum will be second and 10.
Dun, 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 dun. Go ahead. Dun, 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 dun.
Welcome back into the Southern Quality Ford Friday Night Blitz. To wrap up this week's show, we're going to talk about a few high school football games here with Mark Cantrell. And first one I think we've got to talk about out of the gate is that District 1-5A championship. Airline, Captain Shreve, and overall very big win for the Airline Vikings tonight.
Yeah, it is a great job there by the Vikings getting it done. Coach Bo Meeks, after what he went through in the offseason and what they've been able to do, still able to keep his focus, his team's focus. They're good. The defense made the plays tonight, and one score better, and Captain Shreve, who's had a great year as well.
When I did a preview with them, one of their linebackers told me, he was like, "Oh no, we're planning the season for Coach Meeks." So.
And it showed. It showed the 3-7 last year, 8-2 this year. Share Tim's favorite thing.
No, they won district.
The District 1-5A crown.
They won on the field.
But they had to break in a new quarterback with Alex Garcia this year. The defense has been the key all season long. They have held teams like Houghton, like Captain Shreve that have had good offenses.
And maybe if they play Bird, not in a foot of mud, maybe that game's different. Because when there's a foot of mud, advantage Bird every single day of the week.
Absolutely. Yep.
So big win for Airline. Very interesting to see how things are going to shake out when the playoff brackets get released this weekend. Let's go over to Texas now and talk about the Texas High Tigers. 0-3 to start out district play, win their last 3 district games, and with that third win tonight, they end up going into the playoffs. That's really big for these Tigers and for Coach Stanford, who missed the playoffs last year. That doesn't happen very often with Texas.
Didn't he tell you last week that, hey, Brad, we're peaking at just the right time?
Yeah, we talked last week, and he really credited the win over Sherman a few weeks ago. He said that was the first time Texas High had ever beaten Sherman before, and he felt like he just kept pointing out that game was kind of a turning point, and it's proven to be a turning point. They have now won 3 straight.
It's a great play.
Back-to-back blowout wins as they get ready to head into the postseason. And for a lot of those kids, a lot of those seniors that missed it last year, you can tell they're just kind of fired up and ready to go. And really, they have Clayton Smith playing on offense. He's a big-time linebacker recruit.
Mm-hmm.
You see him right there stripping the ball on defense.
That's mine. I'm going to take the pill the other direction.
Kobe Webster is a Division I receiver. I believe he's going to Memphis next year, and this is a team that we'll see how things play out in that 5A Division I playoff race.
Yep.
Talk about a team that is no stranger to making the playoffs. They make it pretty much every single year, especially underneath Coach Scott Surratt, the Carthage Bulldogs. They take down Kilgore tonight.
They don't just make the playoffs.
I feel like every time Carthage plays Kilgore, they still hold this vendetta over the one state championship game that they lost to Kilgore, and they beat the brakes off them today.
Yeah, Kai Horton, I was talking to a gentleman on the sideline today over at Harleton, and what he said, like we were talking about quarterback play, and we talked a little bit about Savion Williams over at Marshall, stepping into the quarterback position, and he just said to me, he goes, Kai Horton is the real deal. And I said, really, I've seen a lot of his highlights. I haven't seen him in person. He goes, wait till you see him in person. He's real. And, this is a guy that's taking photos for Max Preps, and he's, he watches all the games in East Texas because he's always at, one of the better games. And it's just high praise.
I said state championship loss. That's actually Kilgore was the one that beat them a few years ago, and that then sort of started the win streak for Carthage.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I think it was 2013. It was the year before I started here. I believe they did play against each other in the state championship, but I think Carthage won.
Yeah, I got it flipped out. The one I was thinking of was when Kilgore beat them in the regular season, and then Carthage won like 50 straight or 35 straight, whatever ended up being their long win streak. Let's talk about one more Texas team, or I'm sure we were going to talk about one more Texas team. Let's actually wrap up the show. It's coming to an end. Do want to say thanks to Mark Cantrell for joining us this week. Thank you for tuning in. Remember to tune in to the Saturday Night Blitz tomorrow night.
Grambling Alcorn, huge game. I'm going to have a complete wrap from that game for you.
And then we will see you next week for the first week of the playoffs. Have a good night.
Good luck to you guys in the playoffs.
Appreciate it.